All right, this is close enough. This is close enough. I've been caught flat-footed today. Hello, hi Kiara. So, my co-pilot's partner attacked him in his sleep. No, that's overselling it. He just got woken up in the night a bunch of times, and now his brain don't work. Very sad. But I've had to rustle this up on basically no notice, so we'll see how we go. Looking. Okay, good enough. Good enough. This is. I really need to fix emoji scaling in my chat. I filed the chat and now it just looks weird. I feel like I'm missing something. Let me quickly modify all my scenes to say things other than Outer Wilds, and by other than Outer Wilds I mean chuck a massive red over Outer Wilds. Oh, but is it about his Jackass era, or is it about his post Jackass era? There we go. Now everyone knows what we're playing. Perfect, flawless. All right, let me give me a moment, please. I'll spruce up all of my other scenes with this important information, and then we'll get to it. Games installed, by the way, so everything should work fine. Oops, no, moved it. I don't want to move that. Why does this this scene have like 10 components? No, I don't want it. Oh, right. Oh, wait, didn't he fall from grace like less than a couple months ago? Did they already like? That's some quick turnaround time for a whole document. Also, apologies to wolfmyth. I did say I would read a story on stream, but I'm going to wait until tomorrow. Because half of them are left aligned and half of them are right aligned, and shush, I'm working on it. I will fix it someday, but the thing about text that is that unlike a VC face VTuber boy, you can't just mirror him and have him look normal. But if you want to read random mirror text, be my guest. That's fine. Meme. Look, that's the thing, right? I could play Ape Out. Oh, fresh meat. Okay, that's exciting. I could play Ape Out, and I'm kind of psyching myself up to play Ape Out at this point. Or I could do a writing stream. I'm highly tempted to do a writing stream because I had a really good idea for a story yesterday. And there's some context behind that because the reason I had a good idea for a story yesterday is because Valentern and Cairo are going on an adventure next year, and I want to see if I can sell a book on their adventure. So I came up with a book that would fit the target demographic and the target theme. Just something short, probably like 20 or 30,000 words. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that either way. But I also hope not to be like painfully tedious at the same time, right? It's my job to kind of step up and entertain you here. Anyway, it's I think it's an interesting idea. It's unfortunately very dark, and it's also very, I want to say spicy. I don't know that it's necessarily spicy, but it's like it handles a lot of delicate topics, not very delicately. But also challenging is probably not wrong. By which I mean, when I say not very delicately, that is true. That is true. Do I want to do Ape Out or do I want to... Okay, people who are actually in chat, quick vote, Ape Out or writing stream? I'm happy to pivot on a moment's notice, and the only reason I'm playing Ape Out is because it's the only thing on my list that is reliably said to take only one stream. Or I could plot out. Tentative title is Never Closer, but I came up with that yesterday, so subject to change. But yeah, I'm quite happy to just chuck it on screen. What do I? Okay. Kiara and Beacon, your vote, I guess. Because I'm seriously tempted. Roll 1d2. I have a coin here. Shit, I packed away all my coins. All right. Heads or tails? Beacon, call it. Ape Out is a top-down game where you play. Okay, what is heads? What are you calling heads for? Heads is definitely one of the options. Yes. The other thing is, if I did a writing stream, I could call it emergency writing stream. Okay, heads for Ape Out, tails for. Shit, that was a really flip. Writing stream it is. That was easy. Let me go update everything, lol. Okay. So, I am going to reshuffle some things real quick, and then we will start off. I will try to keep up intelligent conversation in the meantime, but I can't promise anything because I've got to actually shuffle a few things around. I think I also need a new scene. No, I don't. I'll just reuse desktop 4.3. All right, that's. I'll just chuck this on here now. All right, here's our scene. See everything. Beautiful. It's perfect. Then. How do we do this? Okay, quick question, Beacon, possibly stupid question. Do you know how to make OBS capture part of window? Like, scale the part of the window that's visible without actually blocking it with other things? Alright. Crop filter. That sounds like a real thing. Let's do that. Okay. Sorry, I woke up at 5:40 to a message from printing. I haven't slept, so in the last 36 minutes, I've made a lot of bad decisions. C drive has a file path that does not contain my name, which is. This is abnormal. Well, usually, see, the thing is, usually I wake up at 5:40 and I run to the screen and all the memes are ready and all of the descriptions are ready and the stream description is ready and the schedule is accurate, and because I take care of this stuff like on Sunday because I know that on Saturday morning I will be brain dead. Okay. This open file. Okay, so I think I'll chuck up the text. Yeah, that works. That works. What am I need to as well? Audio input source display. No. Window capture. What do you mean? Yes, it comes before the other Saturday though. So usually I'll finish stream up. What schedule? I could say schedule, I suppose, but then it's just it feels like taking the long way around, you know. Um, okay, how do I want to? This needs to be like, oh, it resizes it. Put this here. We can make it a little narrower. We can move it around the screen with impunity. Amazing. Let's check this here. That'll do it. Yes, correct. That is why you can work out 4 days a week. I'll just chuck this on. This is subject to change. So some context. The thing about this story is that the target audience is a space-themed furcon in Brisbane. Ah, funny. There you go. Well, there. I've decided to flatten all of the sounds into one monotonous morass just so they come out of my mouth faster. My life is all about efficiency. That's why I'm awake at 6 in the morning doing something I hadn't planned to do. Makes perfect sense. I swear. Okay. So the target audience is because Valentin and his partner have snagged a dealer's den table at a furry con in Brisbane. And I'm like, I now have friends who can sell things to a large audience of people with a very specific interest. I should write fiction targeted to this audience and see if I can. I don't expect to make any money off this, but maybe work up some name recognition. I don't know. I've got until April next year, so there's technically no reason to rush. But it is nevertheless an opportunity to expand on one of my hobbies. So I'm like, okay, I can't not. And then I immediately came up with an idea that's so dark that most people probably wouldn't want to read it. But hey, it could also make for a good story. So let's bring up Vizier. Yeah, you can sit over here. Oh, the microphone's in the way. It's hard to see the entire screen at once. No, this is fine. All right, new source. Window capture. Fine, but now it takes up the entire screen, so I need this crop filter that I mentioned. Select filters, crop/pad. Is this in pixels? My god. Okay, this looks sort of reasonable. Chuck it here. What did I break? Everything. You know the bit with the neurons and the wrinkly bits and the jelly? Yeah, that thing. Okay, let's do that. Touch. Let's shrink this a touch. Chuck it here, and then we can make this. What are we even looking at? What is this? Oh, that must be. I don't even know what the screen is capturing actually. Shape. I'm not sure this is actually capturing anything cool. Quick test. Oh, that's way too wide. This. Okay, I'm not seeing any blue square. There's a blue square on the screen that I'm not seeing. Filter. What have I done? Well, now I've definitely broken something. Yeah, also that. Correct. Uh, this is already shaping up to with. Okay, we have something. What is this? This even not displaying anything. Okay, the crop pad image under delay. Oh, under delay. Well, every emergency stream ends up as the emergency thingy stream, kind of like comes the brakes. Well, look, it's cropped and it's appropriately, but I'm trying to make Visio display things. Cropped, it's got the correct window source. It's just I don't think I can tell what part of the window it's capturing, or if it is capturing a part of the window, it's not coming. So yeah, this is for, but then. Why won't you show me things? Capture method. I had the wrong capture method. There we go. Mystery solved. Now we can actually change the filter to be. Perfect. Good enough. Good enough. No. Another blue screen. Blue square there. Okay, perfect. Flawless victory. No fill. Anchor place with arbitrary effects. Copy. Paste. There we go. Please. Perfect. Very good. All right. So the key conceit that not once have I seen a universe populated by furry anthro people that has had a happy backstory. You have to really, really twist your brain to a noodle-shaped item to actually come up with any scenario that results in a world populated by furry humanoid creatures, let alone one that's got any sort of positive value judgments or connotations. And because, look, the only reason you're going to end up with anything cosmetically resembling anthro animals in a setting is going to be a cosmetics like individual body restyling, I don't know, genetic mods, either for usefulness such as gills or bioluminescence, or just for, looking cool in yours or others' esteem. I should change the description from that. That would make a lot. Flawless victory. Now we can post the streaming longer. Alright, let's do this. Add Outer Wilds tomorrow. Look, my brain is doing its best. Okay, now I feel like I should. Oh no, I said schedule again. This UI has entirely too many buttons for someone of my current mental. It does say, oh look, good enough, good enough. It says the right thing. Hello, Dustin. How you doing? Um, yeah, which is not very fast. Approximately. That's the thing. Brains don't work at the speed of light. Brains work at the speed of chemical potential, and chemical potential is really slow. I use Scrivener. It appears to be the tool of choice of most people who do NaNoWriMo ever. So, yeah, I'm good, but my co-pilot didn't get any sleep, so we're doing this instead of Outer Wilds today, and then we're doing Outer Wilds tomorrow. And apparently this is a emergency writing stream. So, yeah, I'm going over the story that I plotted out really, really quickly yesterday. With the intent of plotting it out a little less quickly tomorrow. Screenwriting, yes, they also use it. There you go. New story, yes. The reason this thing is jumping the queue is because I have a couple of friends who are manning a dealer's den table at a furry con in Brisbane next year, and I would like to by then come up with a little physical fella to actually flip. Less for making any money off it and more for some potential name recognition, because they've also got a few cool things planned, and if I can get myself associated with them, maybe I can make a name for myself. So we'll see. Maybe not. It's a long shot, but it's a good excuse to write something and actually get it out there, which I'm very bad at. Oh. Sorry. Obligatory just got those noises. Better. But yes, the problem is, as you can see from the blurb on the screen, it's pretty damn dark in core concept. So yeah, so to get back to what I was saying, TLDR, there's only two good reasons for furry anthros to coherently coexist with humanity in a setting, and those are extreme cosmetic modification or slavery. And the thing about slavery is, if you implement it correctly, it's really, really morally bankrupt and just it's more like designing pets than it is like designing people. So, the core concept of the story is a bunch of slaves escape. But the setting and the way in which it happens makes it a little bit more of an unfortunate scenario than it might have been otherwise. So it's Blade Runner. Yes, except all of the replicants are immediately obvious from a distance. You don't need to like interrogate. Okay, so let's chuck the core concepts on the screen, and you can see the level of hole I've dug myself. Let's see what we can do. Okay, so we have first of all we have the core concepts. Anthro slave races. That's problem number one. Then we have. Okay, by all means. Right, exactly. There is name one setting where anthros are human created, and it's not some sort of like terrible past shame or background background moral bankruptcy. Like, okay, MCA Hogarth does a few settings where the anthros are actually aliens, but like then they're aliens, so you're kind of getting around that social context. in arguably, it's arguably cheating. I'm not going to push that very. Oh, I forgot hand tracking. I just did this grandiose hand motion and didn't pick it up at all because it's unplugged. There we go. Come here. Come on. There we go. Okay. Yeah, well, it's not. I'm not gonna. Come on. Do the thing. It's not even in the right spot. Jesus. No, that's worse. How about this? That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. So I'm not going to go as far as to like label it cheating, but name one setting. Exactly. Exactly my point. So you start off with this fundamental power imbalance. Then I've made the situation worse because okay, so alien invasion slash come on combat for unknown reasons. So this is intentionally left very vague because okay, enjoy. This is intentionally left very vague because if we're writing the story mostly from the point of view of the slaves, they are not going to have a very clear vision of what is going on in the rest of the world. However, the things they encounter and the things they do still have to make sense in a broader context. So this is me setting the broader context, which is alien invasion slash combat for unknown reasons. They have beef with humanity and nobody knows why. Then humanity isn't quite post-scarcity, but things are cheap, space easy. And the other thing is, the third thing, which is the most important thing, is the alien thing is going really, really bad. And the humans are losing. The one time I tried to explain how furries and humans live together in relative harmony and the way that equilibrium was achieved was a big fuck-off global war that was fought to stalemate, i.e. the Halo Grant rebellions that actually achieved semi-positive results instead of only negative ones. Yeah... You... If I fought a war against a force that was fighting for rights, and the end result was that they got slightly more rights than they had previously, my first move would be to immediately murder as many of them as I could, because they're just going to do it again later and worse. And they've now proven themselves to be an existential threat on a certain level. So it's like yeah, there is no way that is going to end well, especially if you start off with a power imbalance, right? So that's the thing. Changes like women's suffrage and the end of apartheid and all of the kind of equality movements in the history of humanity, those weren't violent movements. They were long-term, non-violent. I don't want to use the word psyops. It's not really psyops, but it's like they're long-term influence campaigns. The goal is to change people's minds, to slowly shift the gradient, and because you're not dealing with otherwise normal humans that are entirely or at the very least mostly equal in any relevant sense, you're dealing with designer pets. And the thing about designer pets is if you're not stupid, you don't design designer pets to be able to be smarter than you. Ban the whole thing because I wrote. Oh yeah, that's normal. I have a bunch of those that I'm. Look, I have that Harry Potter fanfic. Did I send you that Harry Potter fanfic? It's actually pretty good. But it's also just really, really elaborate and grandiose. And oh my god. I'm going to go rustle it up right now before I forget, and I'll send it to you on DM. One sec. It's I changed the backstory of basically every character. It's of course it's a Creature Harry fanfic because I have a theme. And it's just you need to read like 20,000 words of prologue just to get context for anything that is happening at all. So it's for all the reasons why you would write fanfic, which is, you know, to crib off an existing setting and make writing easier because all the characters were established, is basically thrown out the window. I may as well have just written original fiction. Unfortunately, that doesn't quite work out, because the reason it still makes sense to be fanfic is because it is an extreme subversion of a lot of the things going on in canon. So while I don't save time by using established setting as it is presented, I get a lot of extra mileage out of holding existing canon up as a comparison. No, but that's the thing. It is original fiction, but it's not inspired vaguely by something else. It is explicitly reactionary, and that's what makes it hold together better as fanfic than it does as anything. Hey, Ephorus! Thanks for popping in. Hello. Welcome to Emergency Writing Stream number 2. Okay, what was I going to do? Okay, I'm going to send Dustin Lufarius the Harry Potter fanfic real quick, and then he can comment about it in chat as we go. So we get random comments, random sourceless comments. Actually, the stream is developing into the sort of thing where I will probably also read wolfmyth's story. Wolfmyth wrote a story featuring me, and I promised I would read it. Not only did I promise I would read it on stream, I promised that I would read it on stream in a Polish accent, because I'm very susceptible to bribes, especially bribes of fan art. So, which I might also show on stream when we get to that. So, at some point I'll do a BRB and I'll do a dramatic reading of that. Exactly. I've never had actually no. I've had original fanfic written about me before once, and I'll dig that up again another time. But I will need to get the consent of the person who wrote it. They are in my server. I'm not naming names, but it's solid material, and I will whip it out later. Now, where is that fanfic? Promising. I should already have it in PDF, so I should be able to. Oh, I should be posting this in other places. Lure bolus into stream. Well, what do you mean? Stop threatening me and bribe me already. Come on. I'm not harassing him into joining, but I am posting a link in his server. There we go. I've posted on a couple of other servers. We'll see who this pulls in. Anyway. Fanfic. I've also tried my hand at Naruto fanfic before, but that never really took off in any real way, because I couldn't come up with an interesting way to actually subvert the setting. I also have a couple of prompts marked for writing from the Rational Fest, our Rational Fic Fest. Oh yes, I should do that. Thank you, Ephorus. Like, the water is next to me, and it is next to me so I can drink it, and I routinely forget that it is there. Also, people watching, can you actually make out the text in the bottom design section? Or should I try and make that slightly bigger? Let's see, maybe I can do this. Bold doesn't make it better. That's probably fine. Yeah, but like, okay, first of all, there we go. Now it's slightly bigger. And then I can also make it black on white, which should make it a lot less annoying to read. There we go, perfect. Hello, Hohenheim. Oh no, the follow alert is behind stuff again. God damn it. Yay, there we go. Oh, I got raided. Oh, wait, Hohenheim, you were streaming? Hello. Yeah, that's way better. That's what I thought too. One sec, let me actually. There we go. Now I can probably unbold it. Shit, that wasn't unbold. Shit. Hold on. There we go. Okay, so that should be actually legible, sort of. We'll see. 3. Yes. Thanks for popping in. Much appreciated. That should be okay, I hope. Yes. Ugh. One of these days I'll remember to implement push to talk for the first hour of my stream so I can just do that with impunity. Wait. Is this abandoned or is it on hold? Oh my god, it's on hold. I've put it on hold. At some point, past me decided that I will continue writing this fanfic someday. I don't think that's accurate necessarily, but we'll see. Okay. Chapter 0, first draft. Okay. Okay. Eh. Hey, thanks for the prime sub, Dustin. Much appreciated. I will never say no to money. I have been well trained in that respect. Okay, here's the prologue. Shit, am I sending it to the right person? Probably. All right, that's the prologue, and real quick. No. It's really. Oh, thank you. Did you put that in? Did you put that in my server? Can you just post that in my to-do list? Actually, I don't know if OBS does push to talk, but it feels like something that should be doable. Okay. All right, I've sent that, and now we have. I feel like I have a version of this that has more than 5,000 words. Okay, so I'm looking for chapter 1 because I definitely started work on chapter 1. Wait, this looks twice as long. Nope. Nope. Yeah, this version is 10,000 words. Okay. If here you go, enjoy the ride. It's full of mild, like it's like my that's how I write. It's full of mildly objectionable themes, really grandiose ideas, and crazy people. But that's just because I write what I know, and I'm a little touched myself. So, right, okay. So we've got anthro slave races, and you've got a story about. There we go. We've got a story about anthro slave races escaping slavery specifically, and it's informed by the trifecta of there's an alien invasion. Yeah, well, there we go. Because my reasoning, and it's reasoning that I can't really explain in context in the fic, is that the best way, if you could read minds, you could stand there and you could root through the brain for the information that you're looking for, or you could ask a question targeted to bring what you're looking for to the surface of the other person's mind. And it's way less effort if you do it the second way, because brains are wired to respond to questions by retrieving information and making it easily accessible. Now, there's an alien invasion, and by alien invasion, I mean it's not really an invasion. Humans are widely enough. I should put that in here. Humanity is not invasive at this point, but the aliens still an extra. Because okay, so the con is space themed, so necessarily the story is space themed, and also the con is furry, so necessarily the main cast of characters is furry. So we've established this as requirements. So I would be silly if I didn't try to exploit the target audience and the target setting by at least doing that. Would I rather consume an entire humpback whale via osmosis or wildly mutate with no real direction until you are your final form? What determines when I've reached my final form? This is very dependent on that. So hotness. Hotness according to her. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Okay, I'm gonna look at this into this push to talk thing real quick. Mic input filters. Noise gate limiter gain. Noise gate noise suppression. Compressor expander gain. Oh, I should fix the noise gate. It's actually way too low. Close threshold. Threshold. Okay, I'll need to fix that later, but it should stop randomly killing some of my sentences when I'm facing away from the mic. Okay, that's sort of picking up. Oh, that's actually, it's trash. Hotness according to temperature. Minimum hotness or maximum hotness? Because then either I end up frozen to death and unable to move, or it's basically spontaneous combustion with extra steps. Okay. So what we have is we have a protagonist, and the protagonist has a name that is subject to change because, again, okay, I guess I'm done transforming then. Great success. That's pretty much right. Hold on. I'm trying to hack the lack of push to talk by skidding across the room before I blow my nose. It's probably not working. Right. So we have a protagonist. The protagonist's name is Ray. I will change it later to something with more unfortunate connotations, because this is just a random syllable I pulled out of my head. My question about alien furries is, are they a single species with many different physical phenotypes? No, that is the correct word. That simulate different species of anthropersons or a coalition of different genetically unrelated species forming a singular civilization similar to the Federation. The second one, but it's like they're genetically distinct and they can't crossbreed, but with enough gene editing applied at the right moments, it's more like breeding and selling dogs. That's basically the framework you can think of. So, like, you've got the aggressive ones, you've got the soft and fluffy ones, you've got the slightly smarter ones, and you not so much breed as you take an existing strain and you redesign to order. I should be well. I that's the beautiful thing about streaming this is I don't have to write any of this down. I can just watch the VOD later. So, in terms of brainstorming a new setting, this is actually super useful for me. Right. I'd rather be slightly feral like a wild child. Well, that's the thing. It's institutionalized slavery, Hohenheim. You don't get to choose. Hello, Valentine. Welcome to the moral support emergency writing stream. Thank you for popping in. Much appreciated. And don't worry, Outer Wilds is still on for tomorrow. 6 a.m. Australian, no, 6 a.m. European time, Saturday, no, Sunday. See, my brain doesn't work either. This is fine, but at least I can, like, fly brainless because I know the game well. Right. 6 a.m. European time, Sunday, 2 p.m. Australian time, Sunday, East Coast, and 10 p.m. some US time, Saturday night. I don't know how that works. All right. So we have Ray. Ray has a multitude of problems. The first problem he has is that Ray is very dangerous. This serves as a status symbol for his owner. Moral support. Well, what do you mean? What did I do wrong last session? I did fine. I think I did fine. Is this? Do you have specific complaints? Because if so, you're welcome to raise them. Though it might be more efficient to raise them tomorrow than today. It's not like I can do anything about it today. And it might be a moral support. So I'm glad you're here, Valentine, because this stream is about plotting out the story that I want to flip at your dealer's den table next year. The ship had very gentle landings. Is that bad or is that good, or should they be more like? You have to give me operational definitions, and you have to compare the ideal scene with the current scene in order for me to be able to fix literally anything. It's in text. You got to put the sarcasm tag on it, otherwise I can't tell what you're saying. Why are we behind? This is not right. This is not good. We should be in front of everything because we're the most important thing on screen. There we go. Take that, Vizier. Now, being feral doesn't recognize institutes that just goes slavery is expected there. Yeah, exactly. I'm the most important thing here. Like I am clearly what you've all come to see. Me and the stuff that comes out of my mouth. Now, I'm glad you're here for two reasons, Valentine. So first of all, you can audit this thing and either go, this is super interesting, or I don't want to sell it because it's really depressing and oh my god. Yeah, because slash is a command, right? Try. What if you put 2 slashes? You love suffering emotionally over characters. Okay, so read what's on the screen so far, Valentine, and then tell me what you think. Well, that's the thing. I know you're here for depressing, but will the sort of people who shop at furry con dealers dens be here for depressing? That's the real question. But like at this point, it's a good enough idea that I'm writing it anyway. Stuff coming out, yeah. Yes, that one. I try not to make other things come out of my mouth on stream. That seems just inappropriate and not very. It did work. That is correct. But it is also a backslash, and I don't know. Try and put a backslash and then a forward slash because. Wait, let me try this myself. Now I'm curious. Unrecognized command. No, that's not helpful. I'm alive. I'm okay. So, actually, I have no idea. What if I do? No, I put a full stop behind it. What does, yeah, it does, but, yeah, there we go. That should work fine. Yeah, it usually comes last, so it should be fine. Define cancelled. Because the thing about if I'm going to get cancelled for slavery, then I might also get cancelled for the 10 other things I want to put in this story. Let's put it that way. Yeah, because it picks up the first slash, I think. I think you have to put it last. So the core concept is let's go through the core events, and also let's make this a bit. Or what's going on here? Okay, no, we have a bit more space to work with. But I will take this and move it to the right so we have some more canvas. No. I'm definitely not endorsing it. Should I be endorsing? No, I don't endorse slavery. Except outside of a very specific context where both parties are actually secretly consenting, then it's fine. I don't know. I'm not familiar with the nonsense in Florida. Okay, so Ray is very dangerous. He has Ray. Whoops, I have. I don't even have caps lock on. I don't know what happened there. Ray is a carnivore with sharp teeth and pointy claws and very fluffy fur. Ray is also bright white. There's three kinds of yeah, exactly. That's Hohenheim put it right. And no, Beacon. In fact, I think I mostly have to concern myself with 1 and 2 because 3 I can at least argue against. Oh my God! No! We're not doing that. We're not trying to spruik that. Yeah, right. Like what the hell? No, definitely not. Okay. let's let's put some core elements up here. Okay, so we have this, which is part of the core concept. Then we have the motivations. Then we have the other things. Slavery is bad. Skipping. I should put this as like morals of the story. Story and hold on. I can't type. And / or core assumptions. We got there in the end. No line. No shadow. Why does this put shadow on boxes by default? It looks so bad. Bad and question mark. Yeah. Still got it. That's really weird. I had actual hope for Florida until I heard that. Now it's just like, okay, I guess they're all doomed. Oh, you mean token token based censorship, not like whatever I thought you meant, which doesn't make sense. Grandy, no, exactly. My book will definitely contain. Actually, it may not actually contain the word slavery. That's what you get from, writing from the perspective of slaves designed to have limited scope viewpoints. Yeah, right. Impressive. Okay. Design and development steps is bad. Anyway, so this was born from the requirement for a furry space story, but also from the percolating idea from the Ratfic Fest I was looking at earlier, being you're in a spaceship and things keep going wrong. Why do they keep going wrong? So I started with the image of a couple of I started with the image of furries in the spaceship, and then I went, oh, get me some too. And then I went, okay, why are the furries in a spaceship? Because there are a number of problems with furries in a spaceship. I'm gonna create a new file to complain about this live. Murphy's Law this way. Okay, why put furries on a spaceship? There we go. Don't put furries on a spaceship. The thing about furries and specifically a setting where you're dealing with a variety of yes, but no. I'll come back to that. So also yes, but no. So okay, so let's put aside reasons you could place furries on a spaceship as a commodity. Why? Let me rephrase that. Why crew a spaceship with furries? And I don't mean human furries who like work IT and probably have the competence required to fly the thing. Okay, I feel a lot less bad about some of my ideas given what's going on in chat. Sir, don't crew a spaceship with furries. TLDR, build robots or modify humanity, and oh my god, whatever you do, end up with a single coherent phenotype so you don't have to implement 4 different types of life support at once. Why does Firmament have any plot at all? Why did they put it all at the end? That's my real question. Right? Yeah, like, don't. It's a bad idea. And okay, you have a mammal and a reptile and a cetacean. How many of them are going to survive going into stasis designed for humans? Probably 2 if you're lucky, or 1 if you're not. Actually, no, 0 if you're not. But it's the principle of the thing. Wait. I keep getting distracted. We'll come back to Ray. No, we can't come back to Ray. Ray is kind of the core conceit of the story. Is what everything rests on. Okay, so Ray is dangerous. Ray's owner has decided to have something that is clearly dangerous. That's only if you want to sustain someone in normal lifestyle in a volume, right? You joke, Dustin, but there's actually a story where I did that. It wasn't a reptile, sir. It like actually made sense, but But yeah, no. So that works when you're considering sustaining someone in a volume, but when you consider the vast variety of science fiction and also real medical and physiological interventions that might have to be applied to various people, then it sort of collapses. You can't expect human stasis to work on a variety of mammal and other humanoid creatures. You can't expect medical interventions to work normally. I mean, I guess parthenogenesis might make IVF easier, but I don't know enough about either of those things to actually suggest that. If you're drawing an anther tardigrade right now, aren't you? And I mean, I'm sure you weren't, but I'm sure you're considering it now. Shit, what have I done? Speaking of, Hohenheim, Ephraim threatened me with fan art on your behalf. You're not well, but are you starting? Is that what you're doing now? I don't know. See, that's the thing about this stream. I can actually go through my files and chuck stuff up on the screen if you draw me memes. So, there's a variety. You're dealing with a variety of I suppose it might depend on what kind of stasis you do. Yeah. I am intentionally doing standard cryostasis, like slow the metabolism stasis, so that I can kill some people in the process. Hey, welcome back. Yeah, right. That's for one, yes, and for the other, it's medical studies are sort of, they're supposed to be designed to account for that, right? You're supposed to be able to get around confounding variables. You balance out with a lot of redundant crew if the trip has been planned. But if you're escaping slavery, you don't balance it out with shit. Sir, we have the following. We have a setting where humanity is engaged in desperate battle with aliens and they're losing. We have a setting where humanity has created designer races that are basically designed to be slaves. And we have a setting where humanity behaves like humanity. That is, when you build and design things. Exactly. When you build and design things, you skip steps. You do things out of order, and if you're working on an emergency bug-out spaceship that contains the sum total of humanity's data and genetic information, and it's docked in a space station that might get attacked by the enemy at any moment, the first thing you build in is a big red button that warps the spaceship out on a random vector. And the last thing you put in is a security system, because if you're building something like that, you want to be able to test things semi-reliably and with ease. And oh, no. There's three. Yes, no, my bad. There's three concerned parties. There's the humans, there's the aliens, and there's the furries. The furries are the slaves. The aliens are not the slaves. Oh, 1 sec, please. Anyway, no. This is all of this is one setting. All of this is a single story, and all of the elements come together. I promise. Exactly. So if you've got a small ragtag group of slaves fleeing through the dock and they run into the ship, there's nothing stopping them from pushing the big red button, other than ostensibly closing the door first, and even that is probably negotiable. Well, okay, now I'm interested. Is that what it's called? I'll give it a quick Google, because obviously if there's an established IP that does this, I will either pivot slightly away from it or just shamelessly steal. Therion. Apparently there is a band called Therion that used to be called Megatherion, and also maybe... Oh, okay. Okay, so that's not going up on stream. I will look at it later, because I trust myself not to stream the wrong window, but not quite enough to randomly... Okay, taking the route... What do you mean? Okay, while I sort of know what you mean, Valentine, I would appreciate it if you clarified, because that might also help clarify my own thought process on this. Also, if this is more impressive to you, I don't know. What? Why? Of course. I want. If I'm going to write a story to get my name out there, it's going to be a good story. Okay. No, I'm not that worried about like bumping concepts, as long as I can get a different take on the concept, right? And I'm already stealing from like 10 different sources. That's what creativity is. So I'm not concerned about stealing from another source. I'm more concerned about accidentally displaying something I shouldn't on screen. So I'm going to take a look at it after stream instead. Sir, you have a bunch of people running across the dock into the ship. They slam the big red button and the ship takes off. That's Act 1. Are you dynamically modifying your background music to suit what's going on? Of course you are. Right. Is Among Us merch still a thing? Is that actually still a thing people do that still sells? That's a little terrifying, honestly. Oh god. Christ. We should play VR Among Us sometime. I am going to try to get the VR set. I seriously considered. Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. Also, every science. What do you mean the press button? Oh, well, the problem with the pressed button being an accident and people lying about it is that then the crew would be humans and it wouldn't sell at a furrycon. Nobody wants to read about stinky humans. BRB, grabbing a drink of water. And, yeah. I'll be back in a sec. Right, I return. What did I miss? Uh, creative. What the thinking? No. Okay, so this story is about furries because, well, because target market, but also because it is much easier to write a setting that makes sense that has furries as the underdogs rather than vice versa. You can have the furries have had a war, but then you get the same issue, right? Because if it's a local skirmish, then you want your tribes or your countries or whatever to still be able to cooperate afterwards. You have things like armistices and oh, that's sad. Nothing on the Internet Archive. Sad. But yeah, you've got existing coexisting tribes, and they have to kind of like still get along afterwards. So you've got like peace treaties and stuff. But if you've got a war like that, it is essentially existential, and the other party is the losing party is either not. Oh, that's even worse. No. How do you know? Did they leave a note? Ugh. So yeah, any war like that is going to by necessity be an existential threat, because if someone's done that to you institutionally for a very long time, and you have the power to resolve it, you do, and then you worry about the morals and the ethics later. So, we'll come back to Ray. Ray is important, but he's important for probably not the reasons you think, other than being the point of view character. Sir, what happens? The sun hatches and everyone is bad. No, that's my other story. Both of them. They are the same person. Uh, Great. Okay, story done. You can all go home now. Right. This will also come back to. What I will handle now is. Sir, they steal a ship. I'm taking a really. This tells me nothing. I don't actually know the Blade Runner OST. Sorry, I haven't seen Blade Runner since I was like 15. So, the other problem is what's available on on a ship like this. We have cryostasis system designed for humans. The sum total of all human knowledge and probably a scrape of Wikipedia. That is really blurry. Does bold help? Like, does that make it more legible? Oh, it does a bit. Okay, let's just go with that. Oh, right. That is true. The original working titles for this, before I spent an actual 20 minutes thinking about it, were The Grass is Greener Down Below or A Twinkle in His Father's Eye. And both of those are appropriate for reasons we'll get to later. But I've ended up going with I should actually chuck that up on here. You know what? I'll just chuck text. Text. Title. I'll never use this again. Nobody uses Arial anymore. We use Sigo UI. Oh no. Come on. I should have done semi-bold. Where's thing? Is it in font? Oh, it's in font. Semi-bold. There you go. Working title. I'm not committing to anything here, but that's it for now. No, it's no, I'm not even arguing that. That still looks really big and obtrusive. Fine. Clearly. No, I use Comic Sans for other things. Anyway. A cryostasis system designed for humans. That's problem number one. Sum total of all human knowledge. The sum total of all mapped human and human adjacent genetic sequences. The sum total all mapped Earth creature sequences. A lot. Given the commonly used to design and gestate new slave phenotypes. It's basically a seed chip. It's basically a, okay, we've gotten attacked. Essentially, ooh. Ooh. That's a really good point. That's a really good point, and I need to think about that for a moment. It should. It should, because that's good. Yeah, but a space ark designed to be crewed by like a skeleton crew, so in the worst case scenario, one dude runs in and pushes the button, and there's a chance to like get humanity going again, with a lot of the resources it had previously. Not a lot, because I feel like you could do... Okay, let's actually think about this. Let's actually think about this, like clever people. What does the call protocol need to conceal? I'm gonna call it something else, by the way. Probably... I mean, it's really just basic opsec. In a context like this. Okay. The original arc had a skeleton crew. Is that because they all died, or is that because there were only two of everybody? Really? I did not know that. The Earth, no, but some things are, and space is... That's the other thing, right? The next obvious thing to conceal are the natures of the relevant / corresponding radiation spectra. I don't know how much that would do when you're broadcasting. I didn't realize they had kids on the bird. I thought it was like just him and his wife. But I guess that makes sense. I do recall. I haven't actually heard the story since like primary school, and yeah. Beacon, maybe. That depends on how long the conflict has been going on and whether or not there is still an Earth. For all we know. Ooh. Ooh, that's tempting. That's tempting. That's tempting. I had no idea. I mean, I know like minimum viable species is usually 50 individuals, so that would make sense. But again, I probably heard like the kids' version of this story. I did read the Old Testament once, but it's like, well, she had a lot of work to do. Okay. Okay, is that I don't know if this is in the Old Testament or not, or if it's like adjacent to the Bible. But I don't recall reading about that, and I have to reread it. I think I got too distracted by all the actual depictions of interesting strategic decisions and conflict. This one was also in Polish, so I don't know if that's better or worse. Though we don't ask that question. We don't ask that question. We don't know. We don't want to know. I'm out of tissues. One sec. I'm solved. Yeah. No, we don't talk about that, Dustin. We don't mention it. We don't get into it. But yeah, probably. Now, I had a really good idea that I forgot because we got distracted by the Noah's Ark and Noah's sons and what Noah's sons did that made the rest of humanity continue happening. Right. Most human planetary. Oh. Oh yeah, that can go in the section of the UI designed for text. Hey, Chip Hat. We're designing furry fiction. It's a whole thing. Oh yeah, so that can go in there. Okay, with any effectiveness, correct. So they're basically space submarines. So yeah, a couple of friends of mine have snagged a table at a furry con where they can sell shit. So I'm trying. What is their food source? Whose food source? The crew? That's a good question. See, this is why we do these streams, so idiot Shoulder Drake can be supported by his chat in his time of need. Can unbold this. Cannibalism, no. Yeah, well, no, because the ship is designed for humans. Food source, so small garden that doubles as backup life support. There we go. That's their food source. I don't know. I'll figure it out later. Mostly their food source will be not eating because they're in stasis. Hello. Hey, wolfmyth. We haven't gotten. Well, I've decided that I am reading your story today, but we haven't gotten to that part of stream yet. So you've tumbled in at the correct time. In fact, welcome. Right. So there's a lot of context. How high sci-fi they're setting in. Yeah, I'm going with literal FTL jumps because the thing about FTL jumps is I don't have to deal with interactions in hyperspace. We can just do wormhole generation. So I don't have to come up with an entire physics system to define how combat in hyperspace or hyperspace collisions work. The worst thing I have to do is like wormhole intersection, which is honestly they both probably decohere and everyone dies. I don't know. Low effort. But yeah, they've definitely got warp. Yeah. Faster than light. Because can you use the wormhole technology to send comms? Yes, because you can send a probe that can then broadcast via the radio spectrum. You can't send signals without a physical component. FTL is an okay game. The core concept is really, really solid, but I found that the randomization gets really, really annoying late game. Yeah, exactly. Late game when you try and actually start accomplishing specific things. I think I spent like a month trying to unlock the crystal people before I just gave up on the whole thing. Yeah, so sending messages via okay, first of all, let me make some extra space. Yeah. Hello. Oh, thanks for the cheer. Hey, thanks very much for the bits and welcome. How am I? I am okay. I spun up this stream on about 10 minutes notice because it was supposed to be out of Wilds, but my co-pilot is sleep deprived. So I'm doing this instead. I've done this once before. Okay, it's damn it, Beacon, asking actual question. I'm upset that I now have to actually think about things. Yeah, the dragon has claws. Okay, in order. How would EMR cross the wormhole but not cross the wormhole but matter would? I don't know. I will come back to that. No, that's the other way around. Okay. Then we have Endocedra. Okay, then we have Chip Hat's FTL Multiversal mod. I'm not playing FTL again. I'm not modding it. I don't have the time. It does sound like it'll be interesting, but that I just eat like another 3 months of my life, and I just can't. Okay, Endocedra Dragon. That is balls. I am so sorry. Are you actually okay? Like, should you be doing something like battening down the hatches, boarding up the windows, or hiding in the basement? Because like I appreciate the bits, and I also very much appreciate you popping in. But seriously, are you okay? Chip Hat, yeah, okay, yep. The dragon has claws. We covered this. What's EMR? Beacon responded. Chilling on the porch until the power goes out, then I'll go inside. Okay, well, Godspeed. I hope everything turns out okay. Yeah, I don't really have much experience with tornadoes. I've never lived somewhere that is actually exposed to them, but they always look. Okay, let's be honest. Most of my tornado experience is from movies, and movies make things look dramatic. But I'm pretty sure it's also actually dramatic in person, and I hope everything turns out okay. Yeah, no. I'm not modding it because the resultant game would eat my life, not because modding is hard. That's fair. I mean, like, I mod Beat Saber on the regular. Speaking of which, I'm gonna try and attack the VR problem next weekend and see if I can get somewhere. No, I'm going to go with something like. Damn. I am going to go with something like. How do I put this? if you want to send something through a wormhole isn't really an opening of a stable wormhole is an opening in space, but functionally that's almost never the case, right? So even if we're not doing hyperspace as its own substrate of reality, that's pretty good. Probably better than my idea. My idea was that you need to shield something, so that either the wave would decohere as you sent it through, because unless you send it through specifically as a standing wave, which would require really careful signal modulation, or you just record it on a physical medium and send it through, which is usually a lot less trouble. So signal wise or matter wise, because like, okay, obviously wormholes will fuck up whatever goes in, that's what they do, but you put some sort of shielding on it, right? Yeah. It sounds like everything about tornado warnings is amazing except for the tornado bit. That part sounds shit. I wouldn't want the tornado bit, but if they could have the rest of it. um where I live has an annual alarm test day, right? They put on all the alarms to make sure they work, and they just ahead of time they're like, on this specific day the alarms don't mean anything. We just need to make sure they work. And according to my wife, I just completely slept through the whole thing. I was completely unbothered. I don't know. It was a whole thing. Okay, wormholes. How come EMR doesn't cross the wormhole but matter does? Limited physical volume shielding something standing waves. Like, that's the thing. I need to know this so I can write around it and I can have the justification somewhere in the setting, but it's probably never ever going to come up because oh, it might come up. Shit, anything could come up. Look, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Something standing waves, wormholes radiate a lot of trash, and the signal to noise ratio bad, I guess. Worst thing is that, right, I was halfway through writing that. Can deco here and collapse on you and intersect exits. Deco here. Birth wormholes. Deco here is a real. What is this dictionary? Deco here, birth wormholes, and kill everyone. Whoops. Bye, Chip Hat. Thanks for popping in. Maybe just sacrificial mass designed to be warped and torn away in a specific fashion that wormholes don't destroy the valuable. Yes, except anything that doesn't work when crossing the event horizon of a black hole probably wouldn't work while going through a wormhole. So that probably wouldn't work because you're dealing with spatial distortion and gravity gradients, and not just a physical attack from the outside. You're actually dealing with a distortion of the substrate that sustains you. So I guess really intense artificial gravity, really carefully shaped and intense artificial gravity might do that. That's not a bad way to go about it. And yep. But yeah, we look, we have wormholes, and we're going with wormholes, because logistically they're easy to write around. Does binding of tail columns? Yes, unless you just send the whole ship, in which case it's less bad. You have onboard. Well, no, you don't. You have onboard matter replication, in that you have biologicals on board, but they're still. Like, it's still finite matter, right? You have to get that matter somewhere. I expect that there might be, yeah, pretty much. There might be some way around this that involves scooping mass out of, like, gas giants, but that is light on organics. So, for all I know, it's more like dropping an asteroid on a planet with life and scooping up the ejector, hoping it contains some degree of what's the word? Some degree of over or leftover biological matter. Thanks very much for the follow, James, and thank you for popping in. Hello, hello. Sorry I can't talk right now. I know I got your message earlier, but every Saturday at 2 p.m. I do this. So if you want to pop in the future, you'd be more than welcome. Now, would you the easy way to track a probe via locking onto those momentary gravity distortions on either side of a wormhole? Yeah, yeah, exactly. The yes. No, you wouldn't really need omniscience, but you wouldn't be able to track the entry point of a wormhole given its exit, especially if they're more than a few light minutes apart. Because the main the speed of light being the universal physical limit of the speed on the speed of movement is the main form of security that wormholes grant you, and without wormholes or some sort of hyperspace drive, but I feel like if you had a hyperspace drive, you'd have a whole ecosystem for detecting motion and interactions in hyperspace and managing interactions in hyperspace. Whereas wormholes are just point-to-point travel in real space and don't deal with that entire layer of crap. And what that gives you is untraceable transport. And the core conceit is that without that, humanity would already be dead. So this technology is the one reason they're still around. I'm trying to write the story backwards in terms of technological requirements and relying a bit on the anthropic principle of stories to come up with a narrative that actually hangs together and doesn't look completely coincidence based, right? And the thing is, I can write whatever story I want, provided I put the world building in the background to support it. If you've got slaves escaping and they find a spaceship that eats you halfway across the galaxy, if there is a in-world, in-universe reason for people to be building those ships en masse, then it's not a coincidence, right? So I've got to kind of fall back to that level and go, how many layers of context do I have to implement before the story I want to tell starts making sense? The call protocol. Wormholes. There's a problem with this. The problem with this is that if you have a space station on a random vector, that vector could be intuited over time, or the longer you go in a straight line, the more obvious your location becomes, right? Especially if you're radiating anything, and I don't think you can make a completely enclosed environment. I think you'd leak. But if you have to randomly vary your trajectory, you're never going to see anybody ever again because you won't know how to find other people. So you would have to do something like exchange messengers at agreed upon points in time prior to course changes, and also to synchronize. I don't know what either of those acronyms mean. To synchronize your coding system and distribute more one-time pads. I don't know what that means either. Signal noise ratio, I know that one. What's CMBR? Something 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 radiation. Cosmic microwave background radiation. Right. Is it though? Because even if your transmissions are beneath the signal, below the signal noise ratio, you still have a variation in amplitude that you could probably detect. I don't know. I never took astrophysics. But it feels that feels exploitable, just on an intuitive level. Only if what's deterministic. No, the problem isn't the randomness of the vector. The problem is that any mode of reliable communication I can think of is going to result in a join the dots trajectory where every course change is highlighted with a highly radiating wormhole. And the only way around that... There is a way around it. There is a way around it. Okay. So what they have to do, and I'm going to write this up because it's quite clever, if I do say so myself. What you do is you share trajectories and time intervals. At the end of the time interval, you warp the end of the time interval, one ship warps to the location of another ship, and they trade new one-time pads. They determine new coordinates. They both warp away afterwards to a distance greater than light distance, greater than their previous and next time interval combined. This way, you delay any information leakage from the previous leg of the trip by at least one more leg. So you've got that bit of information isolation. Go in agreed on direction, rinse, and repeat. That's the best I can do in the short term. I'm gonna worry about the rest of it later. Okay, the call protocol. Okay, that's good enough. That's good enough. We'll come back to that. Hello. Hey, James. This works until one of them misses a rendezvous. Correct. I don't think there's a way around that. I think any compromise made to decrease missed rendezvous would also compromise the security to an unacceptable extent. Yeah. Ideally, what you also do... No, you can't really do that. You have to have, like, cells. You have to, like, have cells of ships. I was thinking you could daisy chain individual connections, like one-to-one connections, but realistically what you have to do is you have to have groups of 5 or 6 stations that do this. And they have to be, like, independent, there's a word for this. Like, when you have guerrilla warfare and the people don't know each other and everything's anonymous, I think cells is the word, but I forget. And they have to be completely independent in that sense, because otherwise they obviously compromise each other. The more ships you have doing this, the more the delay on waiting everybody, the longer the delay on waiting for everybody to warp in. Yeah, exactly. You actually have to compartmentalize everything. You can probably get around this. No, you can't get around it, because any information you leave in a drop-off point is going to be found, because either it's going to be impossible to find or it's going to radiate. things that are detectable by the enemy. The only exception to this, is using an established shelling point. And the only real shelling point that would work would be planets with life on them. So you go to a planet with life on it and you scan the orbit, and maybe you find something, maybe you don't. Sir. Right. I'll be right back again. One moment, please. Right, I'm back. Where are we? How many times would you be able to use a death drop point like that before the enemy catches on? Once, exactly, correct. Oh, you mean, yeah, the per inhabited planet? Yeah, once, because assuming you're using anything like active scanners, the place is dead anyway. Well, that depends, right? It's like, okay, Beacon has trained me to be properly paranoid over the last year. So it doesn't matter whether the precautions are justified or not if the consequences for taking insufficient precautions are death. It doesn't matter if the precautions are justified or not. You get one chance to get it right. If you get one chance to get it right, you have to over-design. Otherwise, well, you're screwed. Right. So we have the call protocol. We have the features of the ship. Cryosystem designed for humans. Yes, we'll move this over here. The sum total of all human knowledge, and probably a scrape of Wikipedia, the sum total of da-da-da-da. Okay. They also have life support. Okay, we're also, hold on. We are assuming the ship is being constructed under time pressure and features are being added in a sequence allows emergency take off as soon as possible, usually prior to ship completion. The problem with the seed ships, is that they invalidate the. It depends how eager the enemy is. On the one hand, you can hide stuff in the orbit of a this is this fine? This is, hold on. No, now I'm in the wrong spot. That's, can I hold on one sec. Oh, it shows up on the stream as well. Great. That might help actually. How's that? No, those are way too far away. Okay. I think it needs to be closer to me. How about that? That's too low. You know what? This is fine. This is fine. Let's go with this. Hey, when I scratch my head, it actually scratches my head. Okay, you know what? That's pretty good. I'll go with that. All right. The problem with planets that hold life. Either the enemy knows that these are a key resource for humanity, or they do not. If they do, either they also require such planets as a resource, or they do not. If they do not, humans lose anyway, so we have to assume that they do, because otherwise you could just glass every planet with biologicals on it that you went past, and eventually you'd just win by default. Then if they know, then either they know to check such planets for information caches, or they do not. And ostensibly, either the enemy has a base of operations where they can coordinate, or they find each other via radiation. Because if you're defending, you can coordinate in a way that attacking does not allow you to coordinate, because your motions aren't necessarily dependent on the motions of your adversary. So if you're attacking, you need radiation comms, or you need a base of operations which you can periodically regroup at. That's my take. Because if the dud drops were around every planet, nobody would ever find them. Especially if they weren't radiating. If you had to check every planet you went past, for a... What do you mean conceal? No. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You don't need to conceal, but there are other disadvantages, such as coordination. And you can't give someone your coordinates ahead of time because you don't know what they'll be. And while you do have that asymmetry between submarines and surface vessels, the surface vessels aren't doing all that much better because sea is a factor in a way that it is not in seaborne warfare. Seaborne. So even if you can broadcast, it's still really slow. So the only really viable approach to this problem is to have a pre-agreed upon meeting point that you then meet at later. And that would have to be a designated volume of space, and everybody would have to have their own warp coordinates within that volume of space. Otherwise, you'd routinely telefrag ships. So, we're getting distracted. The ship has to have life support. It has to have food. It has to have a medical bay. For reasons that we'll get to later. It has to have controls. It has to have a ship's computer. Do we assume the aliens do not have FTL travel? No. That's a good question. I think if the aliens didn't have FTL, they wouldn't be a threat. So I think they have to have FTL, and I think it has to function broadly like the human FTL does. Because otherwise you have a power imbalance in one direction or the other that's too severe to sell the concept of the story. The sum total of all mapped human and human adjacent genetic sequences. A small physical protein bank. Usual as a basis for substrate for the genetic codes. That's not impossible. Small physical protein back uses substrate for... Well, in Three Worlds Collide, you could only travel between star systems, right? Because you needed the gravity wells to actually warp. Or you had pre-existing gates. I forget. It's been a while since I've read Three Worlds Collide. Use substrate for genetic codes stored in memory. A bunch of stem cells and crap. Do you want me to audit your take on AI? I can do that if you want. If you want the AI to be hammy and pop culture-y, then don't ask me to do that. Hey Beacon, we should do the AI box experiment again. It's been a while. Starlines, yeah. No. And yeah, maybe humans got FTL from the aliens. Maybe they didn't. I don't know yet. I think it's independent. I think it has to be an independent. Not sure. Yeah. Maybe later though. Maybe later. Maybe not anytime soon. But it is something I would in concept be up for. Okay, now it's moved again. How do I? Hold on. Maybe. I'm trying to scratch my head on stream. It's not working. Good enough. Good enough. I need a longer cable for this thing. I'll sort it out. Right. So basically this. Which means it should also have a way. Okay, so what happens? A cryostasis is honestly not as important. But let's say this ship is mostly complete. We have life support, we have a med bay, we have food, but some of it's incompatible. We have that. And then we have the most important thing, which is if humanity... Oh, okay. Good luck, Kiara. Have a good night. Okay, no, Wolfmyth, I'll wait for you. Don't worry. If humanity got the FTL from the aliens, would humanity not necessarily still be on the back foot necessarily for understanding that technology on the scale of potential centuries? Possibly. I like the idea that they developed it independently and you've just got convergence, because even with wormholes, space is still a very, very, very big place, and if you've somehow, yeah, that too. But if you've somehow managed to be alive at the same time as another species, which is like not guaranteed at all, you're still inhabiting a massive volume of space, and even assuming C propagation of every signal you've ever generated, that's still going to take essentially forever to cover. What's the circumference? Sorry, not the circumference. What's the diameter of the Milky Way in light years? Isn't it like 150,000 light years? Yeah, but you're not just driving the car. You have to build it and everything. Right. So otherwise, you You've stolen one wormhole drive. Yeah, thank you. Off the top of my head, it's about 150,000 light years, but I actually can't remember. Point is, it's big. Space is big. Really big. Like, you might think it's a long way down to the corner store, but that's just peanuts to space. God, I really need to fix the hand tracking. Anyway, we have most of this. What we don't have is this. 27-ish parsecs. What's that in light years? I think a parsec was like 3 points. I can't remember. Kiloparsecs. That's more like it. And the parsec is like 3.6 light years? No, 6.3. I used to know these things, and then I became a software developer, and none of that ever came up again. So they steal this ship, and the most important thing the ship contains is a way to organize and download portions of the information in the databanks. You can't just put an encyclopedia on a computer. 90 light millennia. Okay, 90,000 across. No, this is there was this movie called The Shop Around the Corner, which was super adorable. It's a romance couched in a corporate war between a tiny corner store and a massive bookstore chain. And they remade it as something. I can't remember what the remake was called, but it had Tom Hanks in it, I think. It was a really good movie. Adorable. It's the sort of schmoop my parents watch when they've had enough of life and just want a break. Anyway. Sir, the most important thing you have is a way to organize and download portions of the information in the databanks, because if you've gone to a hostile planet and you've scanned the hostile planet and you plan to seed the wait, really? That was it? I thought it was You've Got Mail, but I actually forgot the plot of You've Got Mail, sir. I thought it was something else, but there you go. They're the same movie. Hooray. But yeah, You've Got Mail is a remake of The Shop Around the Corner, which was also adorable and also old, and they made movies better back then. So yeah. No, it's all good. Shouldn't you be going to sleep or something? But yeah. So you've got the shop around the corner. No, fuck, that's something else. Damn it. Good night. Thanks for popping in. So if you've got the access to some total of human information, that needs to be searchable. But making it searchable isn't enough. You need intuitive access to it, and the only way to get intuitive access to it is to learn it. And if you don't have time to learn it, you need a crutch to get around the necessity of learning it. So targeted mental rewrites containing the information you need, and a database search system in the ship's computer, combined with a way to prune and arrange the information optimally to pull down what you want, which is a really useful tool to have if you're a slave escaped from a high-tech society and need a quick way to bootstrap. Sir, that's the setting. Those are the core tools. Now we have Ray. Wolfmyth, shoot me a message in chat when you get back and we'll read the story. But until then, I'll keep going, because this is a relatively intense setting, but it's also it's not a happy story. It's not a pleasant story, and speaking about it for any length of time does get taxing. I'm a little concerned that it'll take me longer to finish as a result. But I do want to. If I'm writing a story full of bad things, I want those bad things to happen for good reasons. I don't want to cheapen this, because then it's just edgy wank. I want it to be grounded, to have meaning, and to actually add value. I don't want to be like, oh yes, it's exciting because bad things happen. Hooray. No. We have Ray. Ray is dangerous. Because Ray is dangerous, Ray is also not very smart. That's something that is useful to his owner because it makes him easier to control. Yep. Ray is a carnivore, which makes him easy to convince to participate in blood sports. And if he participates in blood sports and gets blood all over himself, if he's white, that looks more dramatic. Again, status symbols. Not only is he not very smart, he has a scent imprint. So while there are a few other security measures, the core security measure, will there be an inevitable good happy ending, or would that necessarily cheapen the really heavy setting elements? I want to tell this story in 3 acts, and as you might have noticed if you're an astute observer, in the top left corner of my Scrivener file, the 3 acts are listed out of sequence. The idea is to... yeah, this whole stream is spoilers, sorry. But don't worry, I'll do most of my writing off stream, so if I do more streams on this, they will probably be focused on world building and story design, and any actual content will be left off screen. Not to mention that any actual content might be too edgy for stream, but I don't think so. One of my goals with this story is to write very dark subject matter without being explicit about any of it. I want to allude to a lot of things and fade to black when needed, and actually leave out... rely on the reader's imagination, prod the reader's imagination to imagine what is actually happening. And then the story becomes more tuned to the reader's ability to take, well, bad things, right? Then it's not just, haha, here's gratuitous everything in your face, let's see if you make it through. No, that's mean. That's mean, and it's not good art. I want to try to... I don't even want to try to be subtle about it, but I want to put in a layer of distance, a layer of additional processing required to actually realize how bad things really are. Sir. He's a carnivore. Ray fights a lot. He has very good proprioception and coordination. In contrast, yeah, exactly, sir. Instead of being explicitly like, oh, his owner makes him do objectionable things because that's fun. It's more like, well, he had a really long tongue for reasons, right? Yeah. You get it. So yeah, just tidbits like that, right? So then if you're switched on, you might be able to get the exact meaning, but even if you don't get the exact meaning, you might be able to figure some things up just because of the strange metaphors being employed. Hi, James. I see you figured out the chat interface. Welcome. Thanks for popping in. What have I done? No. I haven't saved this, have I? Whoops. Oh well, I guess I'll save it later. Now. So yeah, stuff like Ray can count to 5. He can count to 5 because his owner doesn't need him to count to more than 5. Why does his owner need him to count to 5? We don't talk about that. Things like that. So he has a scent imprint. So there are other security measures on his behavior, but most importantly, if he smells the right input, he will listen to any order he hears. He's also kept happy, comfortable, and encouraged to be careful in some settings with his claws and less careful in others. Yes, there is underground fighting. Yes, it's terrible. Yes, we touch upon it later. Yeah. Like, Yeah, but that doesn't matter because if you need to count to more than 5, then Master is probably the one who should be doing the counting. Sir. What else? What else is important about Ray? Hello, wolfmyth. Ray has, oops, wrong Ray, has a very pleasant and comfortable life. He likes the way things are. Both because he doesn't know any better, but also just because his owner enjoys being nice to him. Sniff sniff, is that Flaming Hot Cheetos? It might be. It is story time. It is story time. And I did promise I would read it in a Polish accent because I because wolfmyth drew me fan art. So let me pull up the fan art first to show you my price in future if someone wants to message me and make me do something silly on stream. Open in browser. Here. Oh, I can just put image source. One sec. I was gonna put the screen on BRB, but I can just put on an image source, an extra image source, and then go through the video later and tag it based on the image source. Easy. Image. Fan art. Now we have a fan art image source. Please, everybody, exploit this. It'll be great. Desktop. What is this titled? Oh, that was easy. He can go here. There we go. He's beautiful. He's perfect. Can you pay me to read somebody else's story? Depends on the story. And what are you paying me in? It only counts if you're paying me in art. Right. Yeah, I love it. No, where's the story? The story was somewhere next to the fan art, I think. I should have pinned it. I didn't pin the. Did I pin the story? I didn't pin the story. I'm an idiot. One moment, please. You know someone who fancies themselves a writer. Is this someone that I'm going to have to run from in future? Did I get my request? I can hear you on stream. Yes, I got your request. I got your follower. Thank you for the follower. Yes. And yeah, if you type stuff in chat, I can see it. So anyway. Can I pay you? Yeah, that's probably like at least half the people here. But it sounds like he's talking about something someone specific, and the tone implies that he doesn't think much of their skills. But now I'm curious, sir. Honor. Okay. Wait, do you have actual content? And do you want me to? Well, first of all, if they want me to eviscerate it on stream, I can do that, but they have to ask me. If they want, if you want me to just read it, maybe I'll read it myself and then I'll decide. Where was I? Okay, I'm looking for the story. I can probably just keyword search it. No, it needs to index the DM first. Yeah, I know. I'm looking for it. Was it before or after all the Lion King stuff? Aha, no, I found it. Where does it start? Okay. So I found it. It was before the Lion King stuff. Okay, so the core conceit of the story is that Wolfmyth had a dream about something, and then I ended up copying the dream. Anyway, okay. And I did say in exchange for this glorious fan art, I would read it in a Polish accent. Everyone loves the Lion King. It's objectively good. I'm glad they never made a live action remake of it. That really would have cheapened the quality of the IP, I think. So I'm really glad they didn't do that. It was another glorious day in the city. The sun was shining, birds were singing, and there wasn't a cloud in the sky. People bustled about, doing their day-to-day activities such as going to work, meeting up with their friends for a cup of coffee, and going to the local market to get whatever it was they needed. This, my dear listeners, is where our trouble all started. There was a young man looking to barter for 2 kilos of lamb shoulder so that his wife would be able to do his slow-cooked lamb dinner for dinner. So yummy. He had no cash on him, but he was not worried, for he lived in a city that ran on a barter economy. He made many fine things to trade. A solid gold pocket watch, an urn which he swore was from ancient Egypt. There was rare china from China itself, and a glass bowl, just perfect for storing candy, that came with a lid. He had a necklace made from shark teeth, and, best of all, he had a very rare first edition Charizard Pokemon card. Who could say no? Everyone said no. The young man grew more and more frustrated. Why was no one bartering with him? Finally, one of the stallholders pointed out an article in the local paper. Bartering no more. Citizens must use cash. What? This simply could not stand. He would put a stop to this. I will take complaints later. He would get his bartering back if it was the last thing he did. Up ahead was one of the many local government buildings. Perfect. He would stand on the steps and shout out his anger, and he would take hostages. In pure daylight, for you see the young man had lost all his control. He pulled out a dragon mask from his back pocket, for you see, this is based on a dream and already makes no sense. Aha, checkmate, Valentine, and put it on. Citizens, he cried, I cannot stand for this tyranny. I will not let them take bartering away from me. I must barter, and if I do not get it back, then terrible things will happen. People gathered around the stairs, staring at this dragon mask-clad man. Just who was he? Why was he wearing a mask? And furthermore, why was he wearing a suit jacket and pants with a t-shirt and sneakers? He paced back and forth when suddenly a light bulb appeared above his head. Hostages. He would take hostages and use them to barter, to get his bartering back. It was perfect. He would use the very thing they took away from him to get it back. Mwahahaha. He scanned the area. Who to take? Let's see. There was the mother with her blonde-haired child, the old man reading the paper, no doubt doing the crossword, the brooding emo youth covered in tattoos, and the 3 council members exiting the building. They would do. In one foul swoop, he had them all. Again, listeners, do not question how this works. In dreams, people can do whatever they wish, and the Dragon Man now had his hostages. I say, cried the old man with the paper. Like, what the hell, man? Droned the Goth. Unhand us! Cried the council workers. Don't hurt my child, please, wailed the mother. Dragon Man funny, giggled the child. The young man did not remove his mask. He looked down at his hostages, the same way a dragon looked down at its treasures. You all are mine now, and no harm shall come to any of you should I get my bartering back. I don't believe in cash, so I must have it back. I need to trade things to get things. It makes sense. You're a loony, cried one of the council workers. Bartering is old news. Plus, it makes no sense. How are we to decide what things are worth when comparing them with other goods? Silence, cried the young man. I will have my bartering. I will trade. I will get what I want, and you all will get it for me. For you see, the only way I will set you free is if I get my bartering back. I am using your lives as a trade. And he let out a guttural laugh. It's perfect. A large crowd had gathered around the building. People were starting to whisper and point. It seemed that this dragon man was merely keeping these people on the steps. It didn't look like he was going to harm any of them.
Of course, this didn't stop the young mother's tears. She was holding her small child close and kept whispering that it would be okay. Her child, of course, didn't have a care in the world. In fact, he seemed quite entertained by the whole thing. This could be because the man kept poking out his tongue out of a hole that was on the front of the mask. He began pacing. Where were the people coming to negotiate? Did they not care about their citizens? Did he have to take drastic measures? Well, if he must. He suddenly turned around, and in one swoop he had picked up the child by his jacket. Such a sweet little boy. Such a beautiful fair-haired boy. The boy's mother shrieked, No! Don't hurt my baby. He's my whole world. He's my everything. You mustn't hurt him. Please. I will give you anything. Anything. The young man tilted his head, and they were sure that there was a twisted grin behind the mask. Anything? If you want your child back, you must bring me 6 potatoes. 6 potatoes? Asked the mother. That's all. Then you will give me my child. Yes! 6 potatoes. 6 potatoes for child is fair. The mother rose from the stairs and then quickly ran to the market to find 6 potatoes. The young man looked down at the child. Aren't you so cute? Yes. She looked up at the others. Does anyone else wish to leave? Bring me what I desire, and I will let you go. This is... Okay, I object. This is terrible security. I'm not going to let people go under the promise that they can come get me things. They've got to, like, leave their driver's license behind as collateral, at least. The goth stepped forward. Yeah. Suddenly, the young man reached out and pulled at the goth's hair. It was a wig. I thought so. I knew you were a blonde. He cackled and placed the wig on the little boy's head. Yeah, but the other people. But if you want the wig back, I need a carrot. The goth slowly backed away, and then he too ran to the markets. The old man was next to step forward. You, young man, are off your rocker. The only reply the old man got was a crazy laugh. Oh, I thank you. Lovely bowler head, by the way. That was swooped up next and placed on the child's head. Let's see. I desire an onion. Muttering, the old man turned and he too made his way to the markets. The council workers were all staring at the masked man. Oh, the thoughts going through their heads. What would he take from them? What would he make them get? What horrors would unfold? The young man tapped his chin, and then suddenly he had a pocket watch, a belt, and a pair of glasses in his hand. All these things were put on the child, who was still sitting there happy as Larry. Now, you 3, I need 2 kilos lamb's shoulder, some sourdough bread, and half a pumpkin. He paused. Bring these to me, and no harm shall come to anyone or anything. The council workers headed to the markets, and the crowd watched. They watched as the masked man played patty cake with the small child. They watched as he made raw noises at him, only for the child to return them. Finally, one by one, everyone returned. I have your potatoes. Please give me my child. I have your carrot. Please give me my wig. I have your onion. Please give me my bowler hat. We have your lamb, bread, and half pumpkin. Please give us our things. All of these items were placed before the dragon man, who let out a triumphant yell. He laughed and laughed. He placed his hands on his knees and laughed. He laughed for a good 5 minutes. Oh yes, he cried. Yes, 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 you all bartered. You bartered for your child, your wig, hat, pocket watch, belt, and glasses. I have proven that bartering is still very much a valuable way of trading. I did it. He spun around happily. Take your things, for they belong to you now. He scooped out all the items he received. And now I can go home and my wife can make me my lamb dinner. And with a hop and a skip he was off, still keeping his dragon mask on. The child giggled and waved. Bye-bye, dragon man. The end. Great! Thank you for listening, everybody. Right. I will never financially recover from this. Alright, back to our usually scheduled programming. Oh, I'm out of water. 1 sec, please. Oh, don't worry. It'll be on the VOD. You can watch the VOD. I'm definitely not editing this out. It's too good. But yes, 1 moment, please. I'll be back shortly.
I think my poor wife's given herself an anxiety disorder. She's playing the new Pikmin game. The moral of the story is that terrorism is okay as long as no one gets murdered. No comment. Do you not usually laugh? Your poor dog. Yeah. Yes, it is definitely violence. It's I'm pretty sure that legitimately counts as terrorism, that. But hey, we got 2 kilos of lamb shoulder, so it was worth it, clearly. All Dream Shoulder wanted was a lamb dinner, and also terrorism, apparently. Right. Now. Oh, I got DMs. Okay, why do I have DMs? Oh, it says hi. Hi. Yeah. You should write part 2. You should write part 2, but make it be in space. Now. I'll come back to that later. So yeah, Ray has a good life. Ray has a good life. He is one of those status pets. He's not like mistreated or anything. There are like expectations of him, but it's nothing he finds objectionable or unpleasant, right? Because again, A, he doesn't know any better, and B, it's not like they're not hurting him. They're not. It's he's living the idyllic pet life. And most importantly, you'll notice that means he has no reason to stage an escape. So what is he doing on the spaceship? Now, Ray is unusual. Putting claws and teeth on your slaves is stupid. And oh, Laris cooks dinner. Oh my god. You might have to consult with Laris for that one. I'm not a very good cook. That's why Laris cooks dinner. The end. So yeah, Ray has absolutely no incentive to actually leave or to go anywhere. So, but also he's sharp and pointy, and that's very unusual. And while it makes for very good one-sided blood sports, it doesn't make for very good slave control. And the scent trigger is good enough that he is unlikely to ever make off on his own, and he doesn't really have any desires that he doesn't already have fulfilled as part of, well, being a slave. But let's move all this to the side a bit. We'll come back to that. But if you're staging an escape and you've done a modicum of planning somehow, depending on, like, let's assume for an instant that there is someone out there who owns a slave who has very bad information security. That's not really a huge stretch. People just kind of suck at that naturally. Compartmentalization of information takes way more effort than most people give it credit. So someone does something stupid and someone gets away. Other slaves escape. Here's the questions. How much information did they have access to? Did they have time to actually plan an escape? I think the answer is yes. Because while the escape plan I've thought of is feasible, it's not really feasible blind. It'd come off as too much of a coincidence. I think that if I want these people to escape the way they did, I think they will have to have had some inside information and been able to plan ahead of time. So I'm going to go with yes. What went wrong? Obviously the ship was under-equipped. And then we have the important question. What measures are in place to prevent escapes? I'm going to say not many. Because on a space station, there is nowhere to run. Like, let's be generous and say that no one's done this before on this station, and because everyone's compartmentalized into small cells of handfuls of stations, ideally that doesn't happen that often. Ideally, you can have like an incident like this per station, right? And it's when you take all of humanity as a whole, it's not uncommon that this happens. It's unlikely to happen more than once per group of station, or per station at the outside if communication is rare and things coordinate particularly well. Because once this happens once, it's really easy to implement security against. You can't just have like slaves stealing your last resort, desperate last ditch effort generation seed chips. That's bad. Then of course we have the other obvious reason, which is the humans are armed and the slaves are not. Any natural weapons are usually handled in any manner of ways for daily life. And the astute will note that the only real exception to this on record currently, given the plotting we've done, is this boy. Fortunately, this boy is under really good control. A scent trigger. A scent trigger that isn't in common use. It's not a thing that is often used to control slaves. So, maybe it's unoptimized. Maybe it's not particularly well designed. Maybe it's vulnerable to theft. So, the furry slaves escape on the space station. Then they steal Ray's scent trigger and they use him as muscle to fight their way through to the ship. And poor Ray ends up on the ship through no choice of his own in a hostile environment somewhere that he's not really a fan of, and then he doesn't know what to do with himself. But we don't know that because that happens in Act 1, and Act 1 is presented after the end of Act 3. So we open up on Ray at the beginning of Act 2. He's on the ship, he's staring out the window, he's not very clever. But he's also not really coherent enough to realize that he doesn't want that he's somewhere he shouldn't be, and he's not really he realizes Master is a different species now, and everything has changed, and but they still smell the same, so that's fine, right? So he's stuck on the ship with a bunch of other furries who have no natural weapons and only one tenuous way of controlling this guy. And he's sitting there staring out the window, and they're standing behind him going, okay, so who wants to stab this thing in the back before it kills us all? Yeah, correct. It's less a slave in this context, more just a tool of convenience. But then the problem with that is then he ends up on the ship with them, and they have to manage that somehow. But from his perspective, very little of this is obvious. And he has different priorities. So, again, I want to see how far I can get by reproducing an incomplete perspective from the point of view of someone lacking the context to understand what is happening. But to still highlight things, details in metaphor or otherwise, that will make it more obvious to the reader what is happening, even if the character himself doesn't understand what is going on. And there are, if I do present things that way, it is quite, it is definitely possible to handle a lot of dark themes in very careful ways while not really reducing the impact of them at all. In fact, probably making it worse, because you have this guy who's stuck here without his consent, without an understanding of his situation. When I said the story was dark, I meant it. So, let's go through the story structure. Let's steal this and move aside. These can go over here. Still here, right? Yeah. Let's make ourselves a little more space. Oh, come on. Oop, oop, oop. That'll do. There we go. All right. So this is the high level summary. Now we have Act 2. Act 3. And Act 1. So Act 2 and Act 3 are the meat of the story, and then Act 1 reframes the context of Act 2 and Act 3 later. Ideally for double the gut punch, we'll see. And then we have a little coda here in the middle. But how I'll present that, or whether I'll merge it into Act 3, I don't know yet. Now, Act 2 has a subtitle. Act 2 is titled Open Your Eyes. The theme of Act 2 is acquiring knowledge through the download system available on the ship. And the problem with that is it is, especially for someone who has lived their entire life in slavery, it is very, very easy to learn too much at once in some really unpleasant ways. And I want to compare and contrast various approaches to that. Then Act 3 is called Never Closer, title drop, for reasons that I will get to in a bit. And the coda and Act 1 do not have subtitles, because the coda is basically an extension of Act 3, and Act 1 is presented without context at first, and the reader is left to basically create their own impression of what has taken place in Act 1. I don't want to prime people with a keyword or a key phrase. I want the realizations to trickle in as you read. So this all goes in Act 1. It is not even to be called. No, these will be labeled accordingly. They will be labeled Act 2, Act 3, and Act 1, and the book will open with a chapter labeled Act 2. Because I'm mean. But no, I think I will label that Act 1.
I think that that level of context is they happen in they happen in sequential order in temporal order, Act 1, Act 2, Act 3 coda, but they're printed in the book out of sequence. If someone sees those labels and wants to go, yeah, correct. But I don't want to leave them with cues in addition to the temporal cues. I think the temporal cues are the minimum I can get away with for Act 1, so that is what I'll do. It should also leave this slight feeling of emptiness, like I expect this piece of information, where is it? It's not there. I might actually do this. We'll see. We'll see what I keep trying to save this. Look at Discord DMs. Honor. It is a threat and a bribe. It's going up on the screen. One sec. I'm not really using the Scrivener window right now, so it can go over the top of that. Where is it? What did I save it? What have I done? There we go. Fan art. Properties. Change source. Can I crop him? Let's see if I can crop him. Filters. Crop pad. Up. We can probably crop 300 off the bottom. Yeah, 350. I do like how user-friendly OBS is for resizing this sort of stuff. View. Bring him a touch. Chuck him up here. Thank you very much, Hohenheim. It's adorable. Right. There we go. Beautiful. Much appreciated. Thank you. Yes. Tiny Drake, even. I am wondering what to do about stasis. How does stasis, how do jumps work? How does the battery power? Oh no, okay, I do like threats. I'm a big fan of threats. I promise to react appropriately to threats. Quality is in the eye of the beholder. They're both pretty. I loved both. Yeah, Hohenheim has secret artist skills. I don't like. He keeps kind of like downplaying it and going like, no, I'm okay. I draw, but I'm not that great. And then he'll occasionally produce like this ridiculously amazing landscape out of nowhere. I'm like, whoa, what happened here? So my original plan was going to be to have them stasis after warp, and the only reason I can think of them to do this that would actually make any amount of sense would be for whatever power system runs the warp to recharge, which could work if the entire shell of the ship was solar panels and picked up background radiation. It's a cute art. I also do get taken by a Fey mood sometimes too, as a boy does. That's true. Are you okay? That message looked like you're like a cat typed half of it. Are you in the process of transforming into your persona? If so, type help and we'll send help.
I could probably maybe do something amazing if I did not do it on Paint and tried really hard. Valid. I've always wanted to learn to draw. I haven't drawn anything remotely like artistically valid since like second year of uni, and even that was extremely doubtful. Art is one of the art is the major art skill I do not have. I can do game design, I can do programming, I can do writing, I can do music. I can't do art. I can't draw. Well, I don't know. I'm curious. You've engaged my curiosity. Now I want to know. Um. Hmm. Where were we? Okay. So the problem with this is I'm gonna need to make this wider if I'm designing it at a low level like this. Water time. Help send memes and cheese and hugs. Why cheese? Or I will consider it. I am going to take another quick break and get some water. I'll be back in a sec. Right. Not bad. It's stylized. There we go. Frame it. It's a winner by me. Yeah, agreed. Agreed. Oh, that sucks, wolfmyth. I'm sorry you went through that. No, it's quality stuff. And thank you very much. I enjoyed both the art and the story. Alright, I'm probably going to fold upstream relatively soon, but what I would like to get done before I do so is to... I'm going to move the fan out so I can see the... so we can see that. One sec. There we go. Now you can sort of see things. Yeah, that sucks. But yeah, what I would like to do before I hop off for the day is to outline the main story beats of the story, which will hopefully also help me clarify my thoughts a little bit, because there are still a few inconsistencies in the plot that I need to work out. I think because originally Ray was actually a member of the party, the escape party, but I think the thing with the scent control and the natural weapons makes a lot more sense. Again, for context, I came up with this idea at all about 18 hours ago, so it hasn't had a lot of attention or percolation on it yet. This is still like first pass story beat. Now, main beats.
Don't worry, I missed it Hohenheim. I didn't notice the pick. Okay. So they've warped out, they're stranded, they have to figure out what to do next. And at this point I'm going to try to sell Ray much more as disinterested and kind of stupid, and not really let on that he's not, quote unquote, not supposed to be there. Maybe he's like an ally of convenience, maybe he's a, well, I don't know. I don't know what I'll do. But whatever I do, I want to keep it really light on context. I want to make it not obvious what has happened. Because this story does not end well for Ray. And after presenting that ending, I want to present Act 1 afterwards in order to make it abundantly clear how bad things actually went for Ray, which may not be immediately obvious at the outset. I will probably have to. I tend to write stuff like this like a stream of consciousness, and I design skeleton of the character and then make them do whatever they want. And I'm a little worried that that will require me to replot this story a number of times throughout, but that's kind of an occupational hazard. Anyway. Honestly, anything else that happens at this point is flavor, so eventually the party fishes out sufficient. Oop, I'm gonna stop talking. Eventually, they figure out how to start looking for a habitable planet. Flavor stuff. Raise thought processes. An issue with the scent marker. Issues with food and the life support. Discovery of and conversations about the stem cell seed bank. I don't know. I'll come up with stuff. It really depends on what the characters choose to do, which is not necessarily obvious to me at this point. I'll have to hand wave this somehow. Possibly the ship just has maneuvering thrusters sufficient to gain and maintain orbit. I don't know. Possibly because it doesn't need like actual maneuverability. Because unlike the human space stations, it's not designed to move. It's designed to. It's not designed to like exist in space, while being hard to find. It's designed to go, well, to flee, ideally directionally somehow. So maneuvering thrusters should suffice. I don't know how to spell maneuver. Yeah, that one. We'll come back to that.
Then the problem becomes obvious. And they can't get out. So they're stuck. They're trapped in orbit. There's no lander. They can't find the human ships again due to basic security measures, which actually solves a plot hole that I wasn't aware existed. So, thanks for that, Dustin and Beacon. Much appreciated. And they have two options, which is fly around in circles until they die, or do something about the planet. I think this is the part of the story that I haven't thought about enough yet. But also, if I write all this in temporal sequence, I might actually write Act 1 first and then edit it up after the fact to hit harder. I think this part of Act 3 depends a lot on prior characterization. And maybe I can't outline it exactly yet. But I'm looking at something like... Something goes wrong. What I need... the key thing that I need at this point is I need a reason for Ray to undergo a mind download. And to have that cast context on his situation. But why would he do that? Why would he do that? Either he's killed everybody, either like something's gone wrong. Either something's gone wrong or someone's done an amazing job of convincing him to do something. I'm not sure exactly which. Oh, Ray is also illiterate. I didn't consider that, but there's pretty much no way that you would know how to read. Glad I have this convenient diagram with all of this information. And the download might fix that, it might not, but definitely without that, he wouldn't. Okay. Sir. Problem with additional information is rarely, if ever, does it make people less of a threat. Yeah. Again, he's designed for an idyllic lifestyle, by not necessarily a social climber, but someone who has enough spare time to have a pet like that and kind of treat them, I don't know, devote enough time for to them to actually have them, you know, be functional as it's just as this is someone who owns an exotic pet but also has the commitment required to make ownership like that work. It's not like he's languishing abused in the corner because someone wasn't prepared for him. He's bespoke designed to hit certain marks in social status as reflected by slaves. I think this is what happens. I think this is what happens. Okay, so I think Ray kills everyone. I'm not sure what else to do with him at this point. Okay, so there's two options. There's two options. Either he kills everyone. Because what they have is they have yeah, either he kills everyone or they cooperate. I'm not sure which yet, but because yeah, I haven't really outlined the characters yet to a sufficient degree to be able to predict what they will do. Either way, a decision is made to leave the ship in orbit. Yeah, no, the key point here. Hohenheim sent me a work in progress of a drawing he's working on. The key point I want to focus on. Oh, that's what that's for. That looks really good. The key point I want to focus on is that Ray doesn't want to be there. Ray never agreed to be there. Ray has been co-opted as a tool, and for most of the story, he doesn't understand this, and his issue isn't with, oh, I didn't agree to be here. It's with, where's my sunny lawn and my blood fights and my owner? I want to go home, Ray. So there has to be some processing that takes place here, and either way, a decision must then be made on what to do with the stem cell bank. Certainly most of the party would want to replace the optimized human sequences with their own phenotype. Because if you're making a genetic database like this, you're going to populate it with prime genetic material with some of the smartest people around, just good healthy templates, because this is you get one shot, right? You get one shot for restarting human civilization in what is hopefully a cooperative environment. And yeah, if you get that wrong, well, you don't get another chance. But the slaves don't care about that. They care about there not being humans anymore. So fuck you. We're replacing your database of skilled scientists and optimized bodies with functionally their own children. Yeah. Depending on what they can wrangle out of the genetic database. I think this goes here. I think this goes here. And then the mind download thing happens at the end. And now, okay, now we have two things that could happen here as well. If Ray kills everyone, this happens off screen and cuts to the coda. If not, no, actually it doesn't matter, because this is what happens. Ray gains awareness following the mind download, and then something happens. Either he kills everybody, or they cooperate. If other people remain alive, they go to stasis. The plan is to damage the stasis system following this so that they get to die peacefully in their sleep. The alternative is killing themselves with blunt instruments or venting themselves out the airlock or starving to death. So they have some discussion and then they settle on this because the alternatives are all crap. I'm not sure what the reasoning behind this is. It's a combination of this makes way more sense. Hold on. This is why we do this. This is why we do this, so I can look at parts of the story that make absolutely no sense at all and edit them up so they do. The gossamer is hard because the gossamer is actually really, really fine wires. The crystal, don't worry about the crystal. The crystal isn't critical. So yeah, so
So the first thing he'd do is edit up the arrangement of the database, basically the metadata to untag to basically uh right, I forgot. Sorry, I'm getting easily distracted here. So the reason they choose to stay around the planet definitely taste the rainbow. Uh I'm not into vol. Yeah, tasting is always better than being tasted. Then even if it tastes bad, you can just spit it out. Exactly, right? Legitimate concerns. And yeah, they decide to stay there. He rearranges the database, and then we put this back, which we put this at the end, which kind of shows that no matter how Ray handled any of this or what went down, he didn't want to be there. He didn't get to choose. So yeah, looking at all this, what am I looking at? This is about 10,000 words, maybe 12. Then Act 2. That's about 4,000 words, maybe 3. That's not that long. I'm gonna have to do a lot of research. Flavor stuff alone is like 5,000 words. That's about 5,000 words. And then that's about 4. It's 30 to 40,000 words. Probably perfect for something I want to publish physically. Something small. So yeah, that's Never Closer. Maybe I'll rename it, maybe I won't. I'm not sure yet. But I think Never Closer. I really want to capture the feeling of looking out a tiny ship's porthole at a verdant green planet and not being able to get there. And your only option being one out of a smorgasbord of painful deaths. Why? I'm not doing that. I'm not touching Lodgevan. What is wrong with you? That's a stupid question. There's many things wrong with you, just like there are with me. But no, I'm not doing that. Exactly. Like, on the one hand, it's never has your destination been closer, and on the other hand, that's as close as you're getting. That's it for you. So yeah, if I mess this up, it'll be 40,000 words of painful edge, and if I nail it, it'll be heartbreaking. I suppose time will tell which it is. Alright. I'm going to leave off here. I don't really have much more material to cover, and I've come up with a lot of detail here that I want to formalize and encode and start work on. I probably won't get to work on this for a couple of weeks yet. I've got a couple of other things I've got to handle. And another story that I thought this would be maybe 10, 15,000 words, but it's looking like 30 or 40, which is a curse all of my projects suffer from. So I'm going to finish my other story before I start this one. My other story is shaping up to be about 50,000 words, and I've written about 32,000 of them. So it's definitely a little more achievable, and it's mostly complete. Like, I've done the beginning, I've done the ending, I've done the main body of it. I just need to do a few more chapters of basically filler and a little bit of fluff and some plot resolution. So I might throw that one up next emergency writing stream if there's any interest. I'll just kind of run a quick poll at the start. But yeah, this one's gonna be rough, but it's a little too good to let go, even if I don't end up flipping it at furrycon because it's too depressing. But then again, I think legitimately good depressing fiction has a niche, and why not give it a shot? It'll juxtapose great with all the happy shiny stuff that Valentone and co are going to be flipping. So I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, that's it for stream. Actually, let me just do this. Oh yeah, why does this have an outro background music? This shouldn't have outro background music. This is the outro. It shouldn't have any background music. Yes. There we go. It should just have me doing the talky thing. So yeah, that's it. That's it for this one. And I don't know. I've just spent 3 hours talking about, in very, very close detail, about something very depressing, and now I'm trying to kind of pull my mind out of the hole. Writing this is going to be an experience. I can already tell. And it's also the first thing I'm writing with the explicit intent to publish and distribute. So it'll be interesting to see how this affects my approach to the project, because obviously there are, like, I don't want to be writing anything explicit. I don't want to be working on I don't want to run on shock value, but on the other hand, I really do. I just want it safely couched behind metaphor and oh my god, yes. Are you streaming? Because oh yeah, I will give you a raid. Finally, someone to raid. But yeah, Christ. It's gonna be, this one's gonna be an emotionally draining one. But I also have. Oh, you're too cute. I'm really excited to kind of see where this goes, because it's a real test of, like, yes. Damn it, it doesn't have the blep emote. I'll have to edit that in next time. Yeah, no, I'm prevaricating here. Thank you very much, everybody, for showing up and watching me basically design my creative project from the ground up. That's been a lot of fun. Thank you for everyone who contributed and helped me debug some of the setting, the technical, and the character issues. And I suspect I will do this again in a few weeks or a few months, because the deadline for this thing is April, which means realistically it's January, because I needed to get it printed and distributed. So hopefully within a month or two I'll have the structure of it finalized, and maybe even a first draft, and hopefully by November or something I'll have a final product that I can do something with. It's not 40,000 words isn't a lot of work, right? If I focus on it, yeah, I can probably get a first draft done in a month or two. So yeah, thanks everyone. I realized this wasn't Outer Wilds. Outer Wilds is same time tomorrow, 6 a.m. UTC +2 on Sunday, and hopefully Valentine gets some actual sleep before the next time something happens. Yeah. Yeah, hopefully Valentine gets some actual sleep and we can go ahead with part 5 of flying into space uncontrollably. But until then, I'm off. Gonna have to figure out what to do with the rest of my day after that emotionally draining experience. But yeah, it was great. It was great, and I don't want to the as an emergency replacement stream. I kind of love how these work, and I had a great time. So until then, we're gonna give Beacon a raid. He's playing Myst 4 in the hammiest way possible, as in he routinely brings up the penal code in order to figure out how long the protagonists of the main characters, not the protagonist, some of the main characters of the game would end up in prison for their actions in the process of going through the plot. So yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy it. It's something a bit different. And until tomorrow, see you soon.